Okay, I want you to solve. This is the basics, 7.1 is the basics of solving quadratic equations. And you should be able to do these usually by factoring. The next section, well maybe not. Some of it's going to be got by completing the square too. 7.2 will be using the quadratic formula, but we'll be doing it by solving. So first of all, let's do one that's not so hard. Let's do solving 6x squared equals 30. Solve that. To solve that, what's the first thing you're going to do? Divide by 6. It's 5, right? And then when you square root it, okay, when you square root it, don't just do the positive, okay? You could do that with the distance, because distance aren't negative. When you square root this one, put plus or minus square root of 5. Okay? So if you actually had a graph of 6x squared equals 30, which you can't hardly see that, these points, which would be your x-intercepts, that would be when y is 0. That's going to cross at square root of 5 and negative square root of 5. So when we solve this, that would be the x-intercepts of this graph. That's where it's going to cross the x's at. So, see, the first thing says to solve it, find the x-intercepts. Okay, so the x-intercepts are positive 5, square root of 5, and 0, sorry, and negative square root of 5, 0. So this is solving it, and this is your x-intercepts. Okay? Nothing new. I could do another one just like it, but I don't think we really need to. Let's go something new and different. Okay, let's give an exact solution. And approximate to 3 places. Okay, if it didn't come out even. Approximate if it's appropriate. Okay, so let's solve x plus 2 squared equals 39. How do you solve if it has squared right here? Square root, right? When you square root, what do you do here again? We plus or minus it, right? Square root goes away. Don't forget to bring your equals down. You could have wrote 7 here if you wanted. Okay? You're going to subtract 2. So you have x equals negative 2 plus or minus 7. So you've got 2 answers. You're going to have negative 2 plus 7, negative 2 minus 7. But don't leave them like that. What is negative 2 plus 7? 5. High five. Negative 2 minus 7? Negative 9. And we don't have to plug them in to see if it's okay. There's two answers. That would be your x-intercepts if you graph that. Okay. Oh, here's one that it comes out to a square root, so we'll do it. Okay. X minus 11 squared equals 7. What do you do to get rid of the square? Square root. Remember square root? You have to put the plus or minus. Don't forget to bring your equal sign down. The plus or minus. Square root is 7. That's not a perfect number, so just leave it like that for right now. Add 11 to both sides. X equals 11 plus or minus square root of 7. That'll give you two answers. You'll have 11 plus square root of 7 and 11 minus square root of 7. And you can go ahead and put that in your calculator and round it to 3 decimal places. What do you get? 13.646. And 11 minus square root of 7?
8.354.
8.354. Okay? So they would be whole numbers or you round them to 3 places. Let's do one where there's some factoring involved. Okay, x squared plus 10x plus 25 equals 100. We need it equal to 0, don't we? So we need to subtract 100. X squared plus 10x minus 75. Let's see, we got 1 times 75, 3 times 25, 5 times 15. Okay, there's the one that's 10 apart, right? Okay. We got 5 and 15. Positive 10, how are we going to get positive 10? All right, positive is the biggest number. This is equal to 0, so our answers will be the opposites, right? Opposite of negative 5 will give us a 5. Opposite of that will give us a negative 15. And that's our 2 answers. Alrighty. One more where it factors, and then we're going to factor by, we're going to solve by completing the square question. Y squared minus 14y plus 49 equals 4. To solve that, what do? Subtract 4. So we have y squared minus 14y plus 45 equals 0.
Is that plus 49 on the original equation?
49, yeah. And then when you subtract 4, you get 45. 5 and 9?
Yeah.
Right, both negatives to add up to negative 14. This one gives us what? 5. This one gives us 9. Okay. So far, so good. Now we need to complete the square. Okay, x squared plus 4x equals 2. If we added or subtracted the 2 over here, we would never be able to get something that multiplied to give us 2 that would add up to 4, or subtract to give us 4, right? So don't bring it over here. What we need to do is make this where it's a perfect square. And the way to do that is you have to add half of b and then square it. And what is b? Remember, when we did the quadratic formula, the coefficient of this is a and this is b. Okay, this needs to go ahead and be just x squared, which there will be something squared on the problems they give you. So what is half of b? Half of b is 2. So let's just go ahead and do 4 over 2 squared. 4 over 2 is 2. 2 squared is 4. We're going to add this to both sides. That's going to make it where this is a perfect square. I'll show you. Add 4 to this side. Add 4 to this side. Four will be 2 times 2, right? 2 and 2 add up to 4. So actually you're going to have 2 and 2 that add up to 4. They'll both be positive. So you're going to have this. That's why we did this. So this would add up to the 4. 2 plus 4 is 6, so that's over here. How do you undo a square? Square root. So we have x plus 2. Remember what we put in front of this? Plus or minus. Subtract 2. If you left room there, you could have just stuck it in front of this. So if you want to start leaving the extra room there. Negative 2 plus or minus square root of 6. And it's going to let you leave it in that form. You won't have to get the decimal of both ways. It's going to want the answer with the square root still on there. So let's do some more of those. Remember, you're adding half of b squared to both sides. That's how you complete the square. Okay, let's do another one. Okay, x squared plus 2x equals 5. I'm going to leave room here so I don't have to write it again. What is half of b squared? b is 2. Half of 2 is 1. Right? 1 squared is 1. We're adding 1 to both sides.
B means base.
B means the coefficient of your second term. This is A, B, and now we just made a C. But that's only when it's equal to 0. Okay, now we have a perfect square. 1 times 1 is 1. They both need to be positive to get a positive 2, right? So So you just factored that. If you need to write it twice, you can. How do you solve the square? Square root. So that got rid of the square. What do you write in front of this? Plus or minus. And I'm leaving room so I don't have to write another row. So we're going to subtract 1. So there's our answer right there. And as few steps as possible. Let's do it again. Make sure we know how to do it. Okay, we got x squared plus x equals 1. That looks like it's going to be easier, but it's not. Because b is 1, so we have 1. What is 1/2 squared? What's 1/2 times 1/2? 1/4. So you're adding 1/4 to both sides. Actually, what you come up with here that you're adding, not that one, yeah, that. This part right here is what's going to be right here. 1/4 is 1/2 times 1/2. See, this was 1. That's what went there. They both need to be positive to give a positive 1. 1/2 plus 1/2 gives you 1. And make this into a mixed number. 1 1/4 is how many fourths? 5 fourths. Square root both sides to get rid of the square. So we have x plus 1/2. We're going to put a plus or minus. I'm going to put a square root on top and on bottom. We'll leave the square root of 5. The square root of 4 is what? 2. Subtract this from both sides. Since it's the same, you actually could put it over 2, but it's better to leave it separated like that. So it looked easier, but it really wasn't. Better if you have an even number here that divides by 2. That way you get a whole number there. Okay, another one of those real challenging maybe. Because you'll get challenging ones on your homework, so you might as well, huh? X squared minus 4/3 x equals 2/3. So b is 4/3 divided by 2. What is 4/3 divided by 2? Let's see, dividing by 2 is the same as multiplying it by 1/2, right? You flip that over, right? Dividing by 2 is the same as times 1/2, so 4/3 divided by 2 is 4/6, which reduces to 2/3. What's 2/3 squared? It's 2/3 times 2/3. 4/9 is what we add to both sides. I left this like this because that's what's going to be in our factoring thing. When it's the squared thing here, remember that was what we factored. Okay, we're adding 4/9 to both sides. Okay, so factoring this is actually the easy part. 4/9 is 2/3 times 2/3. They both need to be negative to get a negative 4/3 x. We need a common denominator to add or subtract. You need a common denominator. That one already had one. Times 3, so that's 6/9, right? You gotta remember all your fraction rules. Okay, 6 plus 4 is 13/9.
6 plus 4?
6 plus 4 is 10.
Okay. If you say so. I think I was thinking 9 plus 4. Yep, you're right.